Right chaps, we have got a tips, tricks and handy hints video coming. Obviously, as you can see by the title, we are going to, or well I am, going to make some bottom bouncers for pike fishing from a boat. Homemade. Okie dokie. Yeah. And we're going to try these out at a later date. I've been using these in Sweden. Yeah, I'll show you how they work, how they're made, and how you fish them. Not very common these, but again it's all done from boat fishing. So we'll have a look at these. How to make them. Much cheaper than buying them in the shops, I can tell you that now. Right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to tidy my gear up. I'm going to look at the components. Look, I'm a fisherman, because my mug says so. Right, component time. Right then, so how these are fished, basically it's a bottom bouncer. We bounce it along the bottom with either a dead bait or a light bait, yeah, on a trace coming off it. We'll come on to that later on. Okay, but the components here, yeah, for one of these, I'll just get these out of the way. I've made a few earlier. Okie dokie, you're going to need some wire. Okay, I've got £80. This is nylon coated, so plastic coated wire. That's £80. I've got some 150 as well. Okay, obviously a bit thicker, bit more difficult to work with that. Okay, so I'll use the £80 for today. Some ball bearing swivels, size 3 they are. Pair of wire cutters, pair of Chinese crimps, which are bang on. Some of these rubber sleeves, these are actually off. Back leg clips. It's the other parts of that, and they work perfectly. Different colours in there. I've got brown, I've got transparent, or whatever they call them. Yeah, and there's black in there as well. Don't really matter with pike. Yeah, you could have a set of traffic lights down there and it won't bother them. Okie dokie, you're going to need a lead. I like to use balls or cannonballs. Yeah, the reason for that will come later on. Okay, need a lighter. We need some crosslocks, snap links. You need some carbon steel O-rings. Basically they are weld free, so there's no seam in them. Going to need some crimps, different sizes, just different sizes there, a little bit of a bigger one. Okie doke, what else are we going to need? I've got some dodgy leads here, which I'll show you what they're used for. I mean, I don't want to ruin a good one, so I'll just do the demonstration with a dodgy knackered one out of the quality control bin. Got a few of them. 3, 4, 5 ounce cannonballs. Yeah. Some shrink tube and more monkeys and parrots in there. A BFK, a Swedish BFK, some foam balls, a few different colours in there, black mainly because that's my black one. What else are we going to need? Let's have a look. That's about it for start off with. Oh, and some shrink tube interrupters, wherever it is. Out. I've got 2 different sizes for this, okay, and some others. You can even use them. Tips, tricks, handy hints. But the foam balls I'm using today, 22mm Pike Pro in black. You can get them red, get the Fox ones, doesn't matter, but you don't want to be paying an arm and a leg for a little foam ball, do you? Right then chaps, so let's start making it, and we'll go from A to Z. Right, so I've got two different size carbon steel rings. Again, as you can see there, they're the ones without a weld, without a seam, without a joint. Okay, that one's slightly smaller, as you can see, so that has got an inner of 8mm, that's got an inner of 10mm. So I use a 12mm buffer bead with them. If you can't get hold of 12mm buffer beads, because they're pretty hard to come by, you can use an 8mm and put a 10mm on there, 10mm buffer bead, or whatever you want, just to stop it sliding over the swivel, of course. Okay, so yeah, let's knock one up. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is take a length of £80 plastic coated wire, trace wire, yeah, that stuff, yeah, okay. Yeah, on my rig station, that is 35 centimetres or 350mm. Okay, so I'm just going to go slightly longer than that because I want it to be about 30 centimetres long, but I've got to take into account the crimping. Pop that off, take that. I'm going to go for, with this one, yeah, the 10mm inner, 14mm outer. So first thing I'm going to need, couple of crimps, yeah, for £80 wire. Slide that on, ring on, and then we're just going to crimp that on, bend it over, push it together, slide it on. You want a bit of a tag end stuck out at the end, like so, and I'm just going to pull that tight. Try not to grab round the wire, because as soon as you do that you'll just kink it. So what I do, get a pair of pliers and just pull it. As you can see, that's tight up against it. Going to crimp that with a small end, even though it's £80 wire. There's that crimp. Then over the top of that, I'm going to slide a 22mm foam ball, good old tough old foam ball. There is slight little holes in here that you can just get through. This is obviously a Pike Pro one. Yeah, good luck getting hold of them these days. You can get the red ones, can't get the black ones, but it doesn't really matter with Pike. And I'll just slide that through, right the way down, just twist it so it goes on without opening the bloody foam and little bits hanging off, and pull it tight. Okie dokie, next bit, I'm going to stick a bit of shrink tube on there. Okay, nice thin shrink tube. I don't know what that is, 1.6mm or something like that, can't remember. One, it stops that falling down, and two, it stiffens up the bottom bouncer. So I'm going to take quite a little bit of that, and then I need my skizzers, chop a bit off, slide it on, hold it up against the foam ball, and then I'm just going to shrink that down with a lighter. Again, it's wire, but don't hold it on too long, or you'll just melt straight through the shrink tube and the plastic underneath. So it's just to shrink it, not to bloody melt it. Again, what that does, it stiffens up the wire that little bit more. Happy days, let that cool down. So it just stiffens it that little bit more, and that won't fall down anyway, but it just stops it sliding back down again, because you're going to be bouncing this along the bottom of a lake, a reservoir, whatever. Okie dokie. Right, next bit, I'm going to take my little rubber grommet, or your rubber sleeve, what you want to call it. I'm going to get a brown one. Again, these are off the back lead clips. That goes over the end. Just slide that to the top. Then I'm going to need a bit of thicker, because this is going over the crimp. That won't go over the crimp, it won't fit. This needs to be a little bit of a bigger diameter. Okay, I don't know what that is, 1.82, don't know, can't remember. So I'm going to lop a bit of that off. Then that slides on. Then I'm going to put a crimp on, and then a ball bearing swivel, getting this the right way around. So I want the swivelly bit at the bottom. Put my hands down here, shaking like a shitting dog. So slide that over. Again, make sure there's a bit of a tag end coming out your wire. Just stick them through there. Pull that down tight with my nail. Okie dokie, and then we're going to crimp that on. Super. I'm going to slide the shrink tube over the crimp. Just fits that one, so you'll have to get the right diameter. And then I'm going to shrink that down as well. Super. Then my cross lock snap. This is stainless, again from China. Well, it's supposed to be stainless. Yeah, I'm going to stick one of them on. The beauty of these is, as opposed to these, you're a lot less tangles. If you look at them cross locks, snap locks, this is prone to tangles big time. Yeah, so I try and avoid them when I can, and that's nice and smooth, a lot less tangles. So I'm going to open the top bit. This is a fiddly job, so we might be here for some time. Onto the ball bearing swivel. Yeah, fight amongst yourselves, I'll be back in a minute. Put that back on. And then the rubber grommet. Try not to kink your wire, so don't grab hold of the wire like that and do that, because it'll just kink it, and it's about as much use. Fucking Anne Frank's drum kit. Pull that over, your ball bearing swivel. That goes further down obviously when we've got the lead on. And that's it. Right, so now you've got a ball bearing swivel there, turns very easily. Well, it will do when that's not over the swivel. That goes further down when the lead's on. Right, so you're bouncing this off the bottom, so there's a very good chance that's lead's going to get stuck between rocks. So what you don't want is 80-pound wire stuck in rocks there with a lead on the end. Okay, so the chafe rig, yeah, the old cannonball ejection. So basically, yeah, a bit of force, that'll pull off. I'll show you how to do that now. In the meantime, I'm going to get me brew. Right up. So we've just got a quality control lead, which we've just knocked up as a safety lead for bottom bouncing. It wouldn't be a flat pair, of course, because that'll just spin in the water, and I don't really want that. That'll spin, but not as much as that, because it's got obviously the flat face on it. But this is just for demonstration purposes. I've got a bit of shrink tube on there. Okay, swivel as per normal, and that's a safety lead that pops off if it gets stuck in snags, weed, yeah, or rocks, because again you're bouncing it along the bottom. Now the fun part is getting it on this cross lock. So we'll clip that on, and then just to prevent less tangles, pull that down, rubber grommet over the cross lock, and it just prevents tangles. And of course I've released the ball bearing swivel now. Virtually tangle free. Another couple of ball bearing swivels on this rig, yeah, and you're going to get a lot less tangles, believe me. Super. Right, so that bounces along the bottom like so, or mid water if you want, it doesn't really matter, but hence the name bottom bouncer. Get snagged in rocks. Yeah, see if this works, and lead just pulls off. Yeah, doesn't get snapped up. Okie dokie. Yep. Right, so how have I done that? Well, what it is basically is, I'll just get one of these crap leads. There's your bog standard lead. That's got a big eye on it, so getting a shrink tube over that's going to be a bit difficulty. So basically what I do is you just clip the top of your lead loop, like so. The nearer to the arch there, the easier it comes off. Okay, so basically that was, I'll take this shrink tube off if I can. So obviously that was on there. I've just clipped that with a pair of wire cutters. I've just clipped that there. Again, you're not casting this, it just gets lowered over the side of the boat. So you're just jigging it up and down, it's not casting, so it's not going to open on a cast. And then you put shrink tube over the top, obviously that's opened up now because I've released it. And then when it gets snagged, boom, drop your lead. And if you've got a fish on, yeah, even better, yeah, get snagged up while you're playing a fish. Hasn't got the lead on, that will drop off anyway, okay. Yeah, if you get bust up. Right, so what you want to do, yeah, is get the brass loops, because they open out easier than the black ones you get for carp. Yeah, they're solid steel, they're harder, and it's going to take a lot more to open it. So try and get hold of the brass loops, or leads with brass loops on, yeah, because that just opens up very easily. As you see, that gets snagged. Yeah, it's opened up again. Further down here you go. Yeah, the more force you're going to need to open it. So right on the bend I put there. And then, obviously if you've lost the lead, but if you haven't, just knock that one back down. Opens up, it comes off. Super. Right, so that's that. That's the rig. Now we're going to look at how it works. I'm going to fix it up with a trace, yeah, and an up trace, yeah, for pike fishing. Right lads, I've knocked up the rig. It's a bit hoofing, but again, goes out over the side of the boat. So what I'll do, I'll show you the rig. I'll show you the up trace and how it's knocked up. So first things first, let's have a look at the rig. The trace, or whatever you want to call it. Right, I've just put a simulation deadbait on here, a massive herring. Okay, and the trace is very similar to the other rigs you've seen, so I'm not bothered filming it. Yeah, you can see I'll do these spinner traces in a video about 2-3 years ago, can't remember. So I'll just unhook Flopsy. Sit there and be quiet. Okay, it's £30 Berkeley nylon coated wire. I don't use 7-strand for trolling, it just gets kinked very easily. Okay, so it's nylon coated £30 Berkeley this. Size 2, crimped on. I don't know if you can see that. Size 2 crimped on, bit of shrink tube, size 2, semi-barbless of course. crimped on, bit of shrink tube, size 2 carp hook, intern die, Kamasan 745, something like that, B745, can't remember. That's for hooking obviously through the fish's grid. Then put a few bit of shrink tube on there, few day glow beads, yeah, and a fluoro spinner blade, because obviously this is getting trolled really, so it's a moving bait, so that's just a bit of added extra attraction. Right, the thing with this rig, this trace, it's got to be longer than your bottom bouncer, which as you can see this is clearly is. Okay, that's up from, right, but first I'll drop it on the floor. Yeah, right, so the reason for that is obvious to some people, is when you're pulling a fish in, you get a fish on there, yeah, your pike's head's there, your trace has got to be longer. You don't want the lead bouncing around and cracking it round the head all the time, do you? Yeah, so make sure your trace is longer than your bottom bouncer. Okay, then just chuck that on the floor for a minute. Got the up trace, which is again 30 Berkeley wire connected, yeah, to the trace. So that one, yeah, crimped on, ball bearing, swivel, quick link, rubber sleeve, again off the back leads, ball bearing swivel, crimped onto the wire up trace, bit of shrink tube, 12mm buffer bead, and another ball bearing swivel on the top, again crimped on. So your bottom bouncer, which is bouncing on the floor, goes over the up trace, again against the buffer bead, and it bounces along the bottom like that. Yeah, and what I'm going to do with the dead bait, as you're bouncing on the bottom, that might get snagged up. What I'm going to do is, before you put the dead bait on, yeah, open it up, make sure it's not frozen, it doesn't really work, is get a pair of forceps and some foam or polystyrene and shove it down the fish's gut, fill it full of polystyrene so it sits up off the bottom, yeah, and it bounces along like so. Well, what happens with that, it'll turn in the water like that. Yeah, it doesn't bounce along like that, it turns in the water. So the single hook goes through its gob, the barbed one of the 3 trebles sits in the side of the fish, like so. And again, what that hook does, it keeps it straight. If you just have the 2 trebles in, yeah, obviously one, your dead bait will fall off and you've lost it and you don't know you're trolling hooks, yeah, and 2, it just stops it veering off to all the side. Basically it will troll around like that and it'll go round. So that's the reason you need ball bearing swivels. If you don't have ball bearing swivels on there, yeah, you will create one holy mess of your reel line. Yeah, it'll be proper knackered. Okay, so again, fits over, so that will come off obviously. If you do get snapped off, that'll go easily over the up trace, off it falls. And of course, if you get snagged in the rocks or weed, yeah, that just pulls off and you're left with that lot. Okay, because of course fish welfare is #1 priority, isn't it? So there we go, kids. Yeah, the bottom bouncer will be going out very shortly and I'll be testing that. I've used it before, used it in Sweden quite a lot before I started making these films, of course, so I got nothing on no footage for that, but again we'll do it now. So there's 2 boat fishing trips coming up, and we're going to be trying them both. So there we go, the bottom bouncer. Tips, tricks, and handy gonads. Top bomber. So again with the leads, yeah, I've snipped the lead loop in there right at the top, so it'll bounce along the bottom no problem. Obviously, as we say, we're not casting it. That is a 5-ounce cannonball. So again, slide the grommet over to allow the ball bearing swivel to work its magic, and of course, yeah, prevents any tangles or assists in preventing. And with the ball bearing swivel, that can turn very freely indeed as it bounces along the bottom, and you don't come back up with a big massive bird's nest. Okie dokie. Yeah, again, I've snipped that. But again, the black lead loops that you get for carp fishing that you can buy are much tougher than the brass ones. These will open up easy and you can just put them back. Obviously not if you've lost the lead. As we see, gets snagged up. Just opens very easily. Yeah, and hopefully you're free of the snag. Okie dokie. That's it then. So that's the bottom bouncer. Again, that'll be a dead bait. Make your rig to the size of the fish you're going to be using. Yeah, and you can bounce them along the bottom from a boat. Bush. You'll know when you've got a bite. See you later, kids. Tips, tricks, and handy hints. I'm a fisherman, look. Because my cup says so.